Medieval times, a world of grand castles and valiant knights, but the reality was far more ruthless. Today, we will uncover the hidden truths of that era, where people battled poverty, disease, and survival. And this story is not just about common folks, but also about three great women who faced challenges in their own times and made history. Just as the first golden rays of the sun appear on the horizon, your eyes open. But this is not a soft, cozy bed. Instead, it is a rough, thin layer of straw filled with the stale scent of dirt and sweat. This is Europe in the year 1325. In a small, dusty room, surrounded by rotting wooden walls, the air is thick with a mixture of dampness and foul odors, making it hard to breathe. Around you, there are faint sounds of snoring, because here privacy is a rare luxury. Your room is actually a shared space where your family members, and occasionally even livestock, huddle together to spend the night. Privacy? That is nothing but a dream. Like every morning, you struggle to lift your heavy eyelids and adjust your worn-out clothes, which were once new but are now covered in dirt and stains. And so your day begins, a day where the struggle for survival is part of every breath you take. This is the Middle Ages, far removed from the shining castles and heroic knights of Hollywood. This is a reality where poverty, stench, and hardship are your daily companions. As your eyes fully open, the first sensation that rushes over your body is itching. Tiny but relentless enemies, hidden in the straw bed, fleas, have left their marks on your skin. You try to brush them off, but it has become routine. You rise and adjust your modest clothes, the same single outfit that has become a part of you for months. Dirt, stains, and smell have become ingrained in the fabric, and the idea of cleanliness feels like a luxury. You glance around. The small room that you call home is actually a shared refuge for your entire family. Mother, father, siblings, and sometimes even livestock all huddle together to sleep. Cleanliness? That is a wish that may never come true. A bathroom? That word seems like a dream. Here, cleanliness means a quick wash in the nearby stream, but in winter, even that becomes torture. The toilet? It is a public latrine at the village edge, its stench lingering in the air, and the occasional flow of waste along the roadside is a bitter reminder of where you live. Breakfast begins your day, if it can even be called breakfast. A thick, watery porridge made of barley, and sometimes the leftover scraps of vegetables. Along with it, there is rough, hard bread that challenges your teeth, and a weak ale that is actually less polluted than water. Nutrition? That is a privilege for the wealthy. Here, the daily struggle constantly reminds you that life, as you know it, is a relentless test of survival. The itching marks of lice on your skin, your dirt-stained hands, your cracked feet, and your constant hunger all bear witness to your medieval reality. When you run your hand over your teeth, a shock of pain rushes through your body, a pain that never truly leaves, and your mouth feels like a dirty pond. The stench of decaying teeth and their ache have become a part of your daily life. There is no skilled dentist here, nor any modern treatments. Your closest doctor is a barber surgeon who, if in a good mood, might treat your teeth, but his main skill is in cutting hair. Pain relief? That too was done in a traditional manner, and often this remedy seemed like the only way to escape the agony. If you suffered from a serious illness, bloodletting was considered the best treatment. The practice of drawing blood to release excess heat from the body was common, based on the theory of humors. Bloodletting, or placing leeches on your body, were the traditional methods to cure illnesses, even though you didn't know that these could make your condition worse. Now let's talk about water. The water available here is often contaminated, dirty, and barely usable. You are forced to drink it because you have no other choice. And when it comes to bathing, bathing is an unusual concept in your village. People believe that due to the scarcity of water, bathing invites diseases, so most people see filth as a normal part of life, rather than trying to stay clean. But ale? That has become a safe drink for everyone. The germs and impurities in ale are at least more tolerable than in water. People quench their thirst with it, believing it is better for their health since there is nothing in it that can harm them. This was an era where knowledge and awareness about health and medicine were limited, and the reality of your physical condition was only a collection of pain and struggles. As the morning sun shines in the sky, it signals the beginning of a new day, but this new day only brings more exhaustion to your body. The greatest goal of your life is survival, and to achieve it, you must work constantly. You are a peasant, and working in the fields is a continuous, exhausting process. From dawn to dusk, your hands, feet, and body remain covered in dirt because the land demands its crops from you, and you have no choice but to give it. Holidays? They are just a dream. 7 days a week, the same task, plowing the earth, sowing seeds, and tending to crops. Your entire day is spent in this labor, and if you have a child, they must also toil in the fields like you, children who instead of playing, struggle with the earth, having already learned the harsh reality of life. The weather only adds to this hardship. When winter arrives, it is so severe that your body trembles. There is no proper source of warmth, and wrapping a tattered blanket around your back is your only remedy. On the other hand, when summer comes, it is so intense that there is not even a shade to hide in. The hardness of the earth and the scorching sun burn your body. The state of food is such that whatever you eat is often spoiled or stale. Meat is left for days, and its stench fills your nose. If you get bread, it becomes dry and hard, and it can even be poisonous because the ingredients are not properly mixed. Spices? They are out of the question because whatever you have is only enough to fill your stomach. Occasionally, famine strikes, and you get nothing. The earth's chest is completely barren, and your stomach reflects that emptiness. This was the reality in which peasants lived, a daily struggle of labor, suffering, and the fight for survival. Life in the Middle Ages was like a dark tunnel overshadowed by the dominating power of the church. The church's control was so strong that every aspect of your daily life was within its grasp. The day began with worshiping God. Most of the day was spent following the church's teachings, and even at night, your mind remained haunted by the fear of heaven or hell. Giving alms and charity was not only considered a duty, but a collective responsibility, ensuring that you could be forgiven in the afterlife. The fear of hell was always looming over you. This fear had made people's lives so restricted and constrained that they often denied their own realities and desires, choosing instead to follow religious teachings in the hope that they might find forgiveness. Women's lives were a constant prison too. Marriage was a necessity, often arranged in childhood. A woman's sole purpose was to bear children and take care of the household. Their freedom and rights were almost non-existent. Domestic violence was common, since women's voices were suppressed at the social level. Even if their rights were acknowledged, they were so limited that women had no real choice to live on their own terms. And then there was social justice, or perhaps calling it justice would be inappropriate. Punishments were so harsh and brutal that they were beyond any human imagination. Public executions were a common sight, guilty or innocent. The difference only lay in the nature of your crime. Various torturous methods were employed to inflict pain and suffering, under the belief that it was necessary to understand God's will by testing the body. This was a system where your life had little value, and everyone was forced to surrender their fate to God and the church. There was no justice here, only the dominance of the powerful, and this was the reality of life. The most tragic aspect of medieval life was that death always felt near. Child mortality had become a common occurrence. If a child was born in your home, you had little hope for their survival. Due to diseases or complex childhood conditions, children often lost their lives within just a few weeks. Even the average lifespan was only 30 to 40 years, as disease, war, and food shortages forced you to account for your life at a young age. For women, childbirth was a grave danger, where the difference between life and death was just a matter of moments. When death came, it was always a harsh and straightforward event. Funerals were quick, as the fear of diseases and plagues made it necessary to bury the dead immediately. There were no elaborate or formal burial rituals. Most of the time, there were mass graves where thousands of bodies were buried without any memorial, without any prayers, just dirt and loneliness. This was an era where life and death walked beside you like a shadow. Everyday struggle was a reality, and the value of a human being was not measured by the length of their life, but by their struggle. In this era, people did not fight to make their lives better for future generations. They fought just to survive. Today, as we live with modern comforts, where diseases can be cured, good food is available, and long life is possible, we must remember that all of this is a result of the sacrifices of our ancestors. Their struggles, their hard work, and their sacrifices are the reason we live a better life today. Every moment of their lives was dedicated to our better future, and we should always acknowledge their sacrifices. Now we will take a detailed look at the key moments of Catherine the Great's life and her journey to Russia, along with the complexities of her marriage to Peter III. Her story is not just a tale of her rise, but also an example of the wisdom and courage of a woman who set foot in a new country and led a great empire. So let's begin this historical journey and try to understand the significance of her life. Frida made Mexican identity an essential part of her art. On her canvas, vibrant clothing, jewels, Mexican folklore, and indigenous flowers resonate. For her, Mexico was not just a country, but a passion, a culture that lived within her soul. She was not only the guardian of Mexican heritage, but she also presented it to the world in her own unique way. But above all, Frida Kahlo taught us the art of transforming pain into art. Her life was a long journey of suffering, accidents, physical disabilities, Diego's betrayals, and constant physical pain. But she translated that suffering onto her canvas, and it gave her art a depth that only a great artist could create. Her fame was limited during her life, but after her death, Her paintings and stories became famous worldwide. Today, Frida Kahlo is not just a name, but a revolution. Her face has become part of pop culture. Her quotes shine on inspirational posters, and her paintings are displayed in the world's greatest museums. Frida Kahlo's legacy teaches us that true art comes from the depths of the heart, that it captures the joys and sorrows of life and reveals the truth of the soul. She showed us that no matter how painful life may be, it can be transformed into colors, emotions, and stories. Today, we have heard the stories of 3 different women: an anonymous peasant woman who lived through the hardships of the Middle Ages, Catherine the Great, who triumphed in the war for the throne and became one of history's greatest rulers, and Frida Kahlo, who turned her pain into colors and found a place in the hearts of people worldwide. These 3 women were different in time, place, and status, but they shared one thing in their lives: struggle. The peasant woman, whose life was spent in hunger, illness, and hardship, but she would rise each difficult morning, work, and fight for her family. Her story reminds us of the millions of nameless people who built the foundation of history, but were lost within it. Catherine the Great, who came to Russia as a foreign princess, and through her intelligence, determination, and political skills, not only seized the throne, but also transformed Russia into a great European power. Her story teaches us that greatness is not merely a gift of royalty, but the result of courage and strategy. Frida Kahlo, who though confined in a disabled body, kept her spirit free. She poured her pain, love, and dreams onto her canvas, proving that true art comes from the heart. Her story shows us that human pain can become one's true strength. These 3 women reveal to us the greatest truth of history, that life is not always easy, but those who face hardships with courage, intellect, and passion are the ones who become immortal in history. History teaches us lessons from the past, but more importantly, it gives us courage, the courage to face today's challenges and write our own story. These stories remind us that history is not only about wars and kings, but also about those who faced adversity, struggled, and left their mark. In our own lives, difficulties will come, but remember, greatness is destined for those who never give up. Do you have any story that has inspired you? Share it in the comments. And if you learned something new from this video, like it, subscribe, and stay with us on this fascinating journey through history.